Hi guys, MIndstone here, and today we'll be looking at Paladin, which is this very old archetype which has been brought back by Knights of the Frozen Throne. There's a few inclusions which makes for this list to be especially powerful. Um, we're gonna get to them later, and I'm probably going to mention them at that point. But let's just jump straight into the cards, and then we'll go into some example gameplay later. So first up, our first card is actually a 2-cost card. It's Equality. Equality is a card that we play because it helps us clear boards that we wouldn't otherwise be able to clear very easily. And Equality does that by putting everything's health to 1. We often combine that with several other cards, so if we have another board clear, we're going to first set everything to 1 health with Equality, and then the board clear is going to wipe it. So that's really good for just a full clear. Which we can often need against something like Jade Druid, which is going to put out big things that we just can't deal with if we don't clear it, or Token I mean, that happens too. So, Equality is just important because it allows us to do this. However, playing 2 of them seems like a little bit much, but the deck is designed in a way so you're a little bit reactive at times, and Equality is sort of a comeback maneuver you can make when you get behind. So I like running this package with double Equality, but it can be argued that it might not be the best list. The archetype is, after all, not very experimented upon. Then we've got Double Hydrologist. I think this card's super powerful, just because you want to play it on 2, and it's a good 2-2 for 2, that's fine, right? We're not very happy with it, but the body is decent, and we get a card, which is a secret. The really good thing about the secrets is that there are quite a few good secrets. So I think we like Redemption, we like Getaway Coda, we like Noble Sacrifice. They're good tempo secrets. And then we've got Eye for an Eye, which is amazing against Exodia Mage and really any sort of burn mage or mage playing ice blocks, because that helps us put them at 1, and then we can just play Eye for an Eye and they can't win. And at least they almost won't be able to win. So I think Hydrologist has a place in the deck. It's also good with the next card. Because we get more spells, that's quite nice. Yeah, and after all, it's your only true 2-drop. The only true thing you can play on turn 2 and not be unhappy with it. So yeah, I think Hydrologist has a place, definitely. Then we've got Wild Pyromancer. I mentioned Hydrologist has synergy with this, and it is because if you play Hydrologist on 2, get a secret, you can play Pyromancer on 3 and then play the secret, and you actually get to, well, hit everything for 1, which is fairly good for clearing the board. So Pyromancer is in there for 1 being a clear for smaller boards, and you just play 2 secrets or play a secret and some other spell, and he kind of does a little bit of damage. So that's nice. He's just more bulked that way. He's also in there for the combo with the Equality. So you Pyromancer first and then Equality, and everything's set to 1, and Pyromancer kills everything. You have to note this kills both boards, so it's best when you're behind. But it's a very, very common combo for Paladin. They just use it in most control decks. And this is no different, to be honest. Then we're playing Eldo Peacekeeper. Eldo Peacekeeper is for big minions with a lot of attack. We're going to set them down. We're going to buy ourselves a lot more time that way, because they're not going to deal that much damage. It's also just a fine 3-3 for 3, which is often what we're going to be using it for in slower matchups, even though we obviously want some value for the effect. Then we've got Happy Ghoul, which is a really, really important card in the deck. It's not as important in this deck as it is in certain other decks, but it's very good though, and has a quite central role. So the thing is, when you get behind, this card is really, really good at getting you back ahead. It's also good at getting ahead fast, but you have to play a little around it to make it good. So the thing is, you try to not actually stay at full health at first in the game. Because if you just drop 2, 3, 4, 5 health, then you got a little bit and you can work with. Because as soon as you're at this point, you can actually heal yourself with True Silver Champion or other heal cards for the deck, and this is going to make Happy Ghoul free. So you get a 3-3 minion for free, which is very, very powerful. And that's also sort of why we really like this card, because it's a lot of tempo, and it kind of allows us to actually play as a tempo deck without having any 1-drops or any, well, at least not a lot of 2-drops. So definitely an important card, a very fun card actually, because it allows some playmaking too. Yeah, we've got Double Rallying Blade. This weapon is here for about one reason, and that's because it can kill things and make us take damage that way. So we want to just not be at 30 all the time. So we want to take a little bit of damage. I think you could swap one Rallying Blade for something if you really want it, but I usually like them just because they are good for killing minions and people for that matters, and well, they just help you stabilize in the early game. You also have a few Divine Shields, but it's not that bad. So the effect is often something you're not going to consider. Then we've got Stonehill Defenders, and Stonehill Defenders are here as value engines. You could play them on turn 3. You're actually really happy about doing that, because the 1/4 body is fine, but what you really want them to do is, you really want them to discover some taunt that you need in the future. So, if you need value, you're going to take something like Trine or Tarim or something. But if you just need to stay alive, you could maybe take something like Itch's Protector, which is really, really good at just having a lot of presence for the tempo, for not that much mana. So you get a lot of tempo from it. Yeah. But I think Double Stonehill Defenders is really good because you have so many good Paladin taunts. You got 3 legendary Paladin taunts, and there's just a really high chance to discover class cards. So often you're going to get something really good out of Stonehill Defender. That's why we're playing it. Then we've got a single Blessing of Kings. I really like playing 1, but I think 2 is too much. But the reason I like it really much is because if we're up against something slow, we can just Blessing of Kings one of our recruits, or our Stonehill Defenders, or anything else. And we suddenly have a big body which is going face, and doing a lot of damage. And I think that matters a lot. It also has synergy with the next card, so that's quite important too. The next card, being Chillblade Champion, is one of our primary healing engines actually. Initially I'd think this card would be really bad, but the way you're going to be looking at it is that you play it, and then it goes face, and you heal for 3. So it's at first it's only a deal 3 damage to the enemy hero, heal for 3. But it also heals for even more next time in battle, and even more. So our opponent has to deal with it somehow, because it's actually doing quite a lot for us. And it has charge, so it's good for pushing face damage, and it is really good with Blessing of Kings, because if we play this on 8 with Blessing of Kings, we just gain 7 health out of nowhere, and a 7/6 with charge. So that's really powerful. It also enables Happy Ghoul to be played, so a really strong turn 4 if you're just in parity, so nobody's really ahead. Then that's playing Chillblade Champion, attacking something, and then playing Happy Ghoul, 1 or 2 of them, and you just shoot out a lot of tempo that way. Obviously, you're going to be looking for keeping it alive, but you can't always do that, even, well, just because the lifesteal's good. And then we've got Consecration. This card is probably mandatory too, with a double equality combo. Yeah, well, we got 2 qualities, so we want to have a lot of ball clears so we can actually get some value out of it. It also combos nicely with something like Pyromancer, or just, it acts fine as, well, on its own for just killing a lot of smaller minions. So therefore, it's quite a good card. And I think we're going to go for 2 of them. It still does 2 damage to the enemy hero, which is actually quite important to be remembered, because it's often going to allow us to push a little bit more damage, and that might just win us some games. Then we've got Double Truesilver Champion. This weapon is the bread and butter of the deck. So, I actually thought Truesilver Champion was worse than it actually is. I know it's a really good card, because a 4/2 weapon on 4 is really, really good, but I found that attacking with it and healing makes you able to play a Happy Ghoul, obviously, because you're healed, and therefore you get a crazy amount of tempo on turn 4 by just playing Truesilver Champion and playing Happy Ghoul, which is actually quite often going to happen if you have both of them. Because often you're going to take damage during the first few turns. So Truesilver Champion is just super powerful, and there's actually another interaction, which I'm going to talk about later, which is making it even better. At least I experienced the interaction really powerfully. Well, then we've got Elise the Trailblazer. It's a 5/5, it's a tech card, it's a value. That's about what I have to say about Elise, I think. It's really not mandatory for the deck, but we don't have any other 5-drops. If I really wanted to play something else than Elise, I think I would take Harris for weapons, but I don't feel like there's that much weapon, and there's that many weapons going around at the moment, so I feel like Elise is good. It's also because you struggle a little bit with keeping a lot of cards in your hand. You often run out of them, and therefore Elise kind of gets you some potential to just draw a new hand with the pack. which is something I like quite a lot. It's a lot of value too, so if you need to outvalue other decks that are similar to in value, like Wolf Shaman, you can kind of do that. So yeah, I like it. Then we've got one copy of Blackguard. I would consider 2 copies of this guy, because he is really also a centerpiece of the deck. The healing on you, making damage on your opponent's minions, is super important for the deck. Especially playing True Silver, and actually attacking with True Silver for just dealing 2 damage to a random enemy minion, and the swing obviously, and healing for 2 is super powerful with this guy down. Not to mention that he has an amazing stat line. But returning to the interaction I talked about previously with the True Silver Champion, this is actually it. Because if you attack with the True Silver Champion, you're going to heal before you attack. The healing is going to trigger the Blackguard's ability, which is going to deal 2 damage to a random enemy. So, in case you kill that enemy, which you are now you are currently attacking with the True Sword Champion, the attack will cancel. You will still get healed. You will still kill the minion because the Blackguard killed it with the damage, and you can attack again. So you just get 2 damage for free. You don't pay anything, and you get 2 healing. And you can repeat this as many times as you like, as long as you, well, obviously, kill the thing you're hitting before you hit it. And that really makes True Silver Champion and Blackguard a powerful combination. The reason I'm not running 2 Blackguards is, for one, I don't have 2 Blackguards, and I really didn't want to craft the second one just now. I wasn't really sure it was going to be good, because 2 of them seems like quite a lot. It seems like we have a lot of things on turn 6 already, and I don't really know what to cut. I like most of the cards on turn 6, and I'm a little bit in doubt if the second Blackguard is good. So yeah, we'll see. But the stat line's amazing, which is also sort of what makes the card really, really powerful. Because the 9 health is so hard to remove for most decks. So it's often just going to stick, and that makes the effect go off a few times. And 3 attack is nothing to be ashamed of either. It's quite powerful. Then we've got Double Ivory Knight. This card is a card I would consider only playing 1 copy of. But the thing is, what it does, it gets you good cards usually, because you can get something like Spike Steed, or Blessing of Kings, or Consecration, or Equality, or Lay on Hand, or Dino Size. And there's a lot of good spells that you can get from it, and it heals you. So, for an example, turn 6 could be something like Ivory Knight, get some sort of spell, heal you for whatever amount, and then Happy Ghoul. Again, super big tempo play, and really you get so much for it. You would consider just getting the 4/4 and the 3/3 down are good, but you also get a card in your hand and from the Ivory Knight, and you heal up. So it is very, very powerful. There's a little bit many 1 or 2 cost spells in Paladin, I think, which is sort of making Ivory Knight worse, but it's still fine, I think. Yeah, I would consider just running 1 copy maybe, but I think it's a quite strong 6-drop. But you could replace 1 copy of it for 1 more Blackguard or something like that. Yeah, but it's there because we need more cards, and it's just pretty strong with the deck. Good synergy there. Then we've got Spike Steed. This card is amazing, as most people probably discovered during the Ungoro expansion. 2/6 on a target you already, on a minion you have, is good, but having a 2/6 after that is really good, because you essentially put like a roadblock for your opponent for 12 health, plus whatever the minion you targeted already had, which is insanely good against aggro. You really just put a big stop to them, and sort of just make it impossible for them to keep attacking you. Also, the body they have to attack into is not that bad, because 2 attack is making it hit for quite a lot often. So Spike Steed really does a lot. Blackguard's a super good target too, because it has so much health, so you actually get a 5/15 when you play on that, which is quite intimidating. So I think Spike Steed is obvious, just because it's so powerful. I wouldn't be unhappy with playing it on turn 8 with a recruit from the hero power. So yeah. Then we've got Sunkeeper Tarim. This card is in there for these decks that play big fatties. I could mention Big Druid, Big Priest, and Jade Druid pretty much as the main things, because, well, against Jade Druid, if they start getting huge Jades down on you, you just have to drop this guy, and they're all 3/3s, which is really, really good. Instead of being pounded by 8/8s or 9/9s or something like that. And for something like Big Priest, it's like if they bounce on turn 4 into your Shara into something else, which is crazy big, then you simply have to put, let's say Tarim, well, probably not on turn 4 obviously, but if they do it a little bit later, or just play something big, you can just play Tarim, and you can sort of kill their things much more easily. Also, Tarim synergizes quite well with the weapons, the Rallying Blade, and the True Silver, because having these equipped and playing Tarim makes it for you, to kill these minions that are set down to 3/3 instantly, which is very important. And obviously, you have the ability to put 1/1s on the board with your hero power, which can be buffed up quite essentially by Tarim. So, all in all, just a very, very solid card. Then we've got Lay on Hands, which is a little bit of an oddball card. But I think it's very, very strong in the deck, because playing on your face means you draw 3 cards and heal for 8. That's good, right? But you also have the potential to draw into Happy Ghoul, which can just be played instantly, because you healed yourself. It can also be targeting your minions, which it is often going to be, which is just going to be buffing your minions up because they get more health, obviously, and you draw cards. And because the deck struggles a little bit with card draw, I think this is just really, really good for making that kind of work out anyways. So yeah, I think Lay on Hands is probably mandatory, and it's a really big heal, so Blackguard likes it quite a lot too if you want to kill something big. So yeah, it's pretty much just for that. Then we've got Triumph Thundering, which is, because he's Triumph Thundering, he's a huge amount of pressure when you play him. Because the 6/6 obviously hits for a lot, but the weapon is going to do a lot of damage afterwards also. So I liked Trine because he's Trine, and Trine is probably the most tested and true card in the history of Hearthstone almost. I just, when I think of broken classic cards, then Trine comes to my mind every time. So that's obviously why he's in there. And if you don't have Trine, craft him. Just do that. It's an insane card. So yeah. So that being the deck, we will now jump into an example game. So here we are going into an example game with a Hearthstone. So I think this deck performs really well against mid-range decks, and struggles a little bit more against control. But it's not unwinnable really, because you have a lot of damage to actually kill these control decks. Druid is quite interesting because I think the matchup against the Token Druid is a little bit weird, but quite winnable. Whereas the matchup against the Jade Druid is more straightforward, but a little bit harder also, because you simply just have to keep at hitting their face until they die, and try to out-tempo them. So this hand is decent, right? Because we got Aldo and True Silver, which is fine. We don't really mulligan too hard for early game, because we're often just going to find our tempo swings later in the game to get back. We still want Hydrologist if we can, but Aldo, Peacekeeper, and True Silver does just fine.
My greetings. Well met.
So not seeing a 1-drop, we're going to anticipate Jade Druid just right off the bat. And seeing him hero power is also really good for us, because it means he doesn't have ramp card right now. Okay, so obviously we were lucky enough to top deck Hydrologist, which is really, really good. I think we're gonna go for Getaway Kodo. It just seems like the most powerful secret right here. I think the Redemption was okay too, but not really powerful enough. So that's definitely Blessing of Kings for us to push damage. I don't think there's much of a choice here. We're getting a really, really strong lead here, and we might actually be able to snowball that into a game-winning lead. So also, having lost that 1 health to the Druid hero power really matters a lot, because True Silver Champion will actually heal us now. When we throw Happy Ghoul, that matters especially much. So now we just get the 3/3 minion, and we keep pushing face. So this is what aggressive starts in the deck look like, when you get this sort of thing going, and your minions are just coming out fairly fast actually, while you're not playing high tempo minions. Which, well, you can say Happy Ghoul is a high tempo minion, but Hydrologist is definitely not odd. But Blessing Kings definitely makes it go a little faster. I think here we're just looking to put more minions on the board. We're not going to play Getaway Kodo. I think the 1/1 is more valuable. And we're also going to hold the weapon in case we draw Blackguard, and in case we want to Spike Rig Steed next turn. I think that's probably the best play, depending on what he does. If it's Lich King, we probably won't. Okay, so that one seems fine to me. With the Spike Rig Steed, we're just going to kill it. And we still put some pretty good pressure on him, even though he did kind of destroy some of the pressure.
Follow the rules.
So I think we will just punch through this as fast as we can, and then next turn probably just more pressure. Putting some minions on the board really helps us to keep putting pressure on him. It looks like we're going to be attacking for 3 plus 3 plus 2 next turn, which is 8. So we're not that far from lethal. So seeing Ramp, we're going to be fairly confident there's an ultimate infestation in his hand. This is not very good for us. We need to very quickly find a way out of it. But I don't think we can with this hand, so I think we have to draw cards. And obviously we'll start punching down these Scarabs. I would expect him to play Ultimate Infestation on our Taunt here, but we can't really do much about that, to be honest. This is sort of not going our way now, because we're sort of losing the board, and he's getting a lot of cards, and he's actually at 10 mana. So, that's very, very bad. However, we still have the advantage of being able to play Blackguard just out of there without being contested right away. So we might actually get to make a swing with that one next turn, combined with the Ivory Knight. We're gonna hope to do that, even though it's not terribly likely. The weapon does allow us to drop some health, so we might get to. I would expect him to just play a lot of Jade things right now. I think that's quite logical.
What to do?
Even though Swipe does seem quite good if you have it.
The circle of life is over.
Okay, so he is simply just upgrading that hero power and hitting our Blackguard. This is not quite what we wanted, but we can deal with it, I believe. But we have to hit something pretty good. I think Holy Wrath does the most for us. And that really does absolutely nothing. I think we'll go for Repentance to make the next minion he plays smaller, so we can more easily kill it with something like Pyromancer. We're gonna expect him to kill the Blackguard somehow, but that's kind of okay. So killing the Blackguard first is pretty good for us, because it means we get another one of them ready to be deployed. But we're still not in a winning situation, because you could just pour so many minions out right now. But we do get value from the Repentance to get that one down there.
The web unravels.
So to me, this seems like the best play, because we get to clear out a few minions that way.
Out of my jungle.
And the Stone Helm also seems quite convenient. That way we protect our board. This game sadly drags out quite long, which is not in our advantage. We actually have to end it. But to end it, we need him to drop some tempo, so we can start doing something. But that doesn't really seem to happen. Jade Blossom isn't the biggest tempo thing, but it's still pretty good. Paying 3 mana to get a 5/5. It's definitely more than we have. So he found Wrath. That seems fine to me. Nothing I'm too scared of.
Death is eternal. My turn is not.
But we actually do get to put the Triad now, which is really inconvenient for him to deal with, because the 5 attack from this one is not quite enough to kill it. So the pressure should be quite hard for him to deal with.
Your magic shall not save.
However, Spellbreaker definitely does a good job at dealing with it. Seems like he wants to trade. He's not going to be very pleased when he finds out we'll just play another one. However, I would say this matchup is definitely not favoring us getting to this point, simply because he has so much more value than we do, and his tempo is going to be higher than ours. So here I might actually favor the Black God True Silver play, but it's not quite good enough because we haven't lost enough health. So therefore I think we'll just keep putting Shrines down there until we win it through that. Also, we're actually building up a few 1/1s now, so Tarim could be fine for just putting additional pressure on him. We don't expect another Spellbreaker, do we? I don't think we do. So, with him not going... Oh well, he did go Wrath on that one, so he's going to clear it. He's going to swipe it too. Does he have removal with the weapon? He doesn't. That's a really big thing for us. Because if he did have removal of that weapon, we would be in big trouble. Now we can actually get to develop our Blackguard fairly safely behind that taunt, while pushing his face with our weapon. The weapon really matters, pushing the face here, because we need to kill him before he gets out of range. We have the Equality Consecration combo to keep pressure going, so we might be okay. That play is very strong because he gets to play Jade Golem while actually shuffling, so that does pressure us quite a lot. He may go greedy now and play another one, which is really good for us, because we can actually Equality Consecrate to remove the board. And he did use both of his swipes, so there's not going to be clear for the 1/1s that we have left. Oh well, for the 1/1 we have left. However, we should just calculate if we have lethal. So this is 8 plus 3, which is 11, plus 2, which is not quite good enough. So we will have to go with what we have. And take that taunt instead. I believe Tarim is better than Trine here, because it will help us to deal with big Jade Golems, where Trine will simply be stomped by them. But we're putting pretty good pressure on him now, because the weapon and this one should deal 8 damage from hand next turn, which might actually be enough to push him down. So he does go to the 7 health, but it will not be enough, because we can put the Tarim down there and finish the game with a weapon and a swing from the Chillblade Champion. And we finally got to outrush the Jade Druid. I think his main mistake was actually playing too many Jade idols during that turn, because that meant we had a really big impact from the board clear we made, which finally let us push through his defenses with the Ashbringer and win the game. Yeah, but I hope you guys enjoyed watching the deck play, and I will see you in my next video.